EPAC, Housing Advisory, then the next one was what?
Vinyl Square,
Center Village, Historic, and then we also have
did you get economic?
EDC. I think we have a solution for E EDC.
I'll do the BPAC again. They never call. I like that.
We also have NEMCOG, but we think we have somebody on that. That was a town appointment, a Paul's appointment.
Well, we've got a citizen rep.
However, I thought
Right,
we were
George is
supposed to
gonna
have a
take that.
planning board.
Yeah, right, exactly, but the PB typically has one. Okay.
The planning board typically
was
has
our
a rep as well as a citizen rep.
Citizens rep?
Well, we'll go through, we'll discuss them.
Planning board appointment?
Okay.
Was a town
Let's see how long.
I don't know.
Goodness. Anybody know where Henry's up to?
Henry not coming?
I thought I heard someone say Glenn. You said he wasn't coming.
I thought he said he wasn't coming.
Really?
Do I give him 3 minutes?
Yeah, well, let's, he who misses the meeting gets the action items, right?
Oh, yeah. Vic,
You know how this works.
The worst committee assignment,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
BPAC.
No, Glenn wants that.
I want that one.
Oh, and then,
Never do
Mike,
anything.
at
Yeah.
the end, I want to talk about appointing the associate member.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that
Yes.
as well. Okay. Well,
Oh, no, I didn't get them out after the hubbub later in the day.
you had a
How much fun
hubbub?
was being had in this building.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I guess we might as well get underway. Very good, it being 7 o'clock, I'm gonna call this meeting of the Chelmsford Planning Board to order. Note that we are, I believe,
Here he is.
Henry's here.
Henry. We have a full slate. Okay, I believe we are being recorded by Chelmsford Telemedia.
Yes.
We traditionally are. I can't tell whether the cameras are on or off, but I'm going to
The mic's
believe
on.
it. Yeah, the mic's on, true. With that said, as the vice chairman, first order of business we have is welcoming our new members. Don Van Dyne.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Tim, well, you're not really a new member. I mean, you're just not the alternate anymore. Yeah.
Welcome to the full board.
Yeah, well, yes. Welcome to the deep end of the pool. First order of business after that is reorganization and liaison assignments. So, the way we traditionally do this is, yeah,
I got a motion for you.
you have a motion? What's that?
Oh, I'd like to nominate Mike for chair, Ed for vice chair.
One at a time.
Oh, one at a time?
I don't see any reason we can't take them all. Go ahead.
To hell with Robert's rules.
It's a slate.
It's a slate.
And then people can,
One more.
Tim for chair. Chair.
Secretary.
Clerk.
Clerk.
We got clerk, chair, vice chair.
And I
That-
second that.
Yeah.
do we have any other nominations? Would anybody like to present a motion to vote for the slate?
Close the nominations.
Well, close, yes.
Close the nomination.
Yep.
Motion to close the nominations.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now I would accept,
Motion to close the
well,
vote on the slate, or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, we can do that. We can vote as a slate.
Okay.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Second by Tim. Let him have that second.
Tim, do you
We
accept
ask if
the
everybody's
nomination?
willing to.
Yes, yeah. Now I know why you sat me over there.
That's right.
Okay, I do assume, by the way, that you are all willing to run. I am.
I'm willing.
Willing? Yes. Okay, in that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Congratulations.
and now I can.
Flip it up.
Oh, you were prepared.
You know something
I saw this
before we
coming.
did. All right, so then liaison assignments, please.
Okay, liaison assignments. Now, I have CPC, BPAC, HAV, EDC, Vinyl Square, Center Village, Historic, and NCOG. And NEMCOG. Are there any others that we should be considering?
No.
Okay, in that case, I know, Glenn, you've expressed an interest in BPAC.
I'll do the BPAC.
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
You know the EDC guys pretty well.
I can do EDC.
You got EDC,
And I'm
well,
also on Center Village, so I can do a report there too.
okay.
Excellent.
I've been regularly attending Housing
Right.
Advisory if nobody else is interested.
Okay, well, let's spread it around a little bit, but is there,
I'd like to keep historical.
okay, Nan gets us, well, is anybody else, I mean, I don't
I'm
want
on CPC, I'm vice chair, and I've had to run some of the meetings, so I think
to, okay, so you got that,
I should continue.
all right. That's Ed. Housing Advisory,
I'm on that right now.
want to stay there?
I'll keep it for now unless
Works for me.
Don.
Okay. Vinyl Square, does anybody live up there, or?
Monica, so.
Yeah, that was it. If there's anybody who's particularly associated with,
Ed?
huh?
I can go,
Probably
I'm now the closest, even though I'm not near it.
You're probably the closest. I mean, does anybody else want it?
Yeah.
And if you don't want it, I'll do Vinyl Square,
I'll-
if you don't want it,
Well, are you doing two already, or?
Yeah, but he does them anyway.
Henry?
by default.
So old as it is.
Okay, I'll do Vinyl Square, I'll go with
Yeah,
Vinyl
I know.
Square.
Okay, and we have NEMCOG. Now, note that George is the citizen rep on NEMCOG.
I'm not sure if he's been appointed yet, but.
Well, we
we
suspect that he may.
suspect that he will.
And of course, he knows it cold. He's been associated with them for a
Yeah,
very
he
long
was the
time.
treasurer.
That does not mean that we shouldn't or don't need to have a liaison. Is that,
That's later at night, I think, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's
No.
monthly, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I
monthly?
think
Yeah,
it's
maybe
monthly.
monthly, usually
Not often.
seven to nine.
All right, I'll try that one.
got it?
Yeah,
You'll have a friend there.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me read the list, and if anybody would like to throw an extra hat in the ring or has having second thoughts, I've got Ed for CPC, Glenn for BPAC, Tim for Housing Advisory, Don for EDC, Ed for Vinyl Square, Don for Center Village, Nan for Historic, and Henry for NEMCOG.
What do you have?
Yeah, you gotta run the meeting.
Yeah, I have a full slate.
We'll keep him busy.
I'll come to a few of the other ones as well. I may start going to a few of the selectmen meeting. We don't really have a
We don't go there.
They're boring.
I'll go visit from time to time in disguise. Okay, anybody else have thoughts?
It's good to me.
I would be just as happy to have a vote on this if people would like to,
I'll
Can
make
we
a
vote on it
motion
as a
that we
slate?
approve the slate of committee, external committee assignments.
Second.
Nan's got the second? All in favor? Aye. It's done. Thank you, everybody, for being willing to do that. Okay. Are there any other preliminary items that anybody can think of that we need to take care of before we get to the meat?
The only thing I have is the associate member, but we'll do that at the end.
Okay, we'll do associate member then. Very good. So the next item on here is 35 Hunt Road. Phil Iliopoulos has asked for an informal conversation with us. So this is not a hearing in any real sense, but take it away, Phil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Philip Iliopoulos. I'm an attorney here in Chelmsford with offices at 9 North Road. Welcome to the half-new member, the new member, and congratulations for everyone in their new roles. I'm here tonight on behalf of Wayne Cunningham, who owns 35 Hunt Road, joined here by his son Todd, as well as our engineer, Ken Lania. And we've got kind of a unique situation here. This project is actually a project that was previously approved by the town. And at the time that it was built, after it was approved, the property owner got permission from the then building inspector to only build half the building. They put the entire foundation in, they put the entire parking in, they put the entire drainage system in. They built one shell, it's pretty much a shell industrial type building, making prefab parts and things of that nature for clients. So just didn't build the second half. So they've decided to, now their business is doing well. They're hoping to grow. They've got about 9 employees currently. They're hoping to double that and build out now that second half of the property. Ken will walk you through some of the changes and details, but we're actually proposing to remove some of the pavement. We just don't need that much parking. So the intention would be to actually create less impervious material over there. And do some landscaping and kind of pretty it up a little bit. So we kind of batted around the best way to approach it with the town, and I sort of had come up with a couple of options or thoughts. One thought that I had that I got from a wise person was to see if the board would allow us to build under the original approved site plan, but maybe make a vote to incorporate, have it reviewed by all the town departments, fire, Evan, public safety, what have you, and that we would incorporate into that previously approved plan any new recommendations from the departments. Again, we're not proposing to change the drainage. We're going to lessen impervious. We're not proposing to change the lighting. Like I said, we're reducing the parking lot. So that would be, I think, one idea if the board was so willing. The other option is we could treat it sort of like a minor site plan review. We'd ask the board to waive things like landscape architect, formal lighting plan, formal traffic study. Again, going from 9 to 18-ish employees, we don't see really any significant changes. And then we would build, in essence, in the same footprint that the foundation exists there today. So it'd be sort of a minor package, than let's say a full-blown site plan review. So why don't I kind of maybe have Ken come up, walk you through the past, the future, and get a little bit better picture of what we're proposing, and then we could maybe just chat about what the board thinks. Okay? Thank you.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members, Kenneth Lania, Cornerstone Land Consultants, 2 Bridgeview Circle, Tingsboro, Mass. And as Attorney Eliopoulos stated, we are reducing, I'm not sure if you folks can see it very well on the board we have here. See if I can spin around here. The biggest thing here for Mr. Cunningham is trying to avoid having to redo the whole site plan as he did in 1980 and the cost associated with having to do something when he's primarily got 90% of the property completely built out except for the structure itself. The foundation is actually in. The building itself is split right down the middle, and it's approximately 4,000 square feet that remains to be constructed. You folks have a bylaw on the site plan review that requires anything over 3,000 to require major site plan approval. Major site plan approval would require items, drainage calculations, meeting today's requirements. It would require a traffic study and mitigation plan, full landscape architect landscaping plan, as well as a lighting plan. And we're hoping to, appease the board and see if we can potentially reduce those costs for Mr. Cunningham to allow him to construct this second portion of the building. In this scenario that's in front of you for the colored rendering, we're looking to reduce about 3,000 square feet of pavement. So it'll be a pretty good reduction in pavement. So the drainage itself would actually be able to handle, in the original design, the full paved area, and we're going to be reducing that by 3,000 square feet. I believe we're looking to probably, in the filing, come before you folks for a special permit request to actually reduce the parking that's associated with the structure. The original design plan called for about 40 parking spaces, and Mr. Cunningham doesn't really have a lot of traffic coming in and out of that structure. It's mostly for employee parking only. So we felt it best if we could reduce that parking under a special permit by you folks in whatever mechanism you allow us to do the filing under, that would allow us to, kind of skirt under the radar for requiring the drainage as well. We are going to repave the site. The pavement is a little bit I'd call it, it's 30 years old. So I hate to say it, but after 30 years, we all start to break down. So, ultimately, we are committed to repaving the area, restriping the spaces that we're proposing. I believe that Mr. Cunningham's going to work with the rear neighbor, and they're going to dress up that new signage area in the front corner. So we'll be planting some landscaping and ultimately making the site a little bit more functional to today's standards. But again, we're hoping that we can request those waivers, that you folks would go along with those, and then ultimately grant a special permit for the reduction in parking. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, this is as much as anything a procedural question, I guess. Phil?
Yes. The procedural question is, what?
How do you do this?
Well, again, you've got a previously approved site plan.
Right, that's from
It's from
1980?
the 80s, I think, 1980, okay. So, again, it was approved, the town gave permission through the building inspector at the time to just build half the structure.
Right.
I believe it was even after they put the foundation in, they just, didn't need that second building at that time. And so I think, and Evan and I chatted a little bit about it, I think that the board would have the authority to basically allow the building to be built in accordance with the previous approval, subject, I think, which would be, I think, fair to the town, review by department heads who might have recommendations about, whatever today's standards or concerns may be. That would certainly be the simplest.
Yep.
So I don't know what the board's thoughts are there. And I don't know, Evan, if there's any precedent for that in town. I mean, it is an
That'd be
unusual
the other way to do it.
situation,
Why don't you go around with questions?
I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
What do you think, Evan, like a minor modification?
Let's hear.
Yeah,
what the-
let's finish them up and then we'll go around.
So that would be one option, or if the board really wanted to do it, maybe a little bit more of a look at it, we'd treat it like minor site plan. Like I said, the drainage system is in, operating. We're going to reduce the impervious. There's actually draining calcs in the old plans, and the town has those drainage calcs. So I think whatever drainage is going through that site today, it's going to be better because we'll have less material. So we could waive things like drainage, landscape architect, lighting, things of that nature.
Okay.
And kind of do it as a minor site plan.
All right. Very good. All right, I'm going to pass this one around. Take it from the end, I guess.
Okay. The new construction, what I'm understanding is that the foundation for that is already present,
Correct.
and after 20 years exposure to the elements, it's still in good enough condition that it doesn't have to be replaced.
So the foundation itself, I think, is a concrete foundation. Like the parking, it may be,
Looks green.
yeah, it may be.
The foundation is the
you need-
white on the outside now.
Yeah,
Ah, so it's,
The interior would still need to be poured. You obviously would need to have a floor put in there. So that green would be taken out, a new gravel, vapor barrier, new floor would be put in, and then the metal structure would be.
so all you really have there is the footing.
Well, it's the foundation wall, the stem wall that comes
Yeah.
up out of the ground, and the footing that is, 4 feet below for the frost wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those were
Gotcha.
installed back in 1980.
All right. Is the expectation that the new construction will be matching the existing construction
yes.
As far as the structure goes, ma'am?
as far as the
I can tell you
structure
that as
goes?
well.
Hey, thank you.
Take this off.
Yeah, you can leave
Just
that.
gotta flip it.
So the existing building is the lower half, and the proposed building would be the upper half. And the reason for the differential in height is because when the original plan, when the building was done in 1980, the machines were a lot smaller than they are today. Now they have all these new updated CNC machines that do everything computerized. They're much larger machines, and we need a little bit more clearance in the elevation of the height of the building, and that would be the only difference between the two structures, would be the height.
So the new construction would not be to the old plan. It would simply be located in the same place as the old plan.
It would be in accordance with the approved site plan. The approved site plan didn't take into effect, let's say, the look of the building. It probably did have a height on the approval, but this height would meet zoning, so I don't know that it meets zoning. So I think that wouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Henry?
Yeah, I know we're talking about being a little easier on lighting, but you guys haven't lived until my wife drags me out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning to show me the green awning sign on the auto body place next door.
Too
If-
bright, not bright, is it too lit?
I can see it from my
Yeah.
kitchen window. You're not supposed to go off your property.
Yeah.
I want to make sure lighting stays on site.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even mind awnings, I don't mind signs, but,
Right.
I don't want them running all night long.
No, and I don't know why they're doing it. Certainly, we have no need for it. And
I-
hopefully, they're not doing it now at that location, but I would think it would be the same.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
as far as drainage goes, I hayed that land 40, 50 years ago, and it's gravelly underneath there. I know it's pretty good, the drainage shouldn't be an issue. I don't have any other problem than that, but I just want to make sure the light doesn't spill off. the
Okay.
site.
I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as the, the building inspector passed through them, so I'd be okay.
Yeah, two questions. It's basically about runoff and infiltration. I'd like to hear from Christina Papadopoulos about if the standards have changed and if we need an infiltration system for this side now. And I think it should come, if you're asking for special permits or a special permit, I think it should show up as some sort of minor site plan review, or what was the one that you did last week, that last meeting that was, or 2 meetings ago?
Andy?
I think
Huh?
it's a-
Oh,
I
yeah,
think it's a site
Trinity,
plan
we did
modification.
a minor with where we
Was that
where
a
we
minor
waived.
site
Yeah.
plan?
Yes, and we waived. We didn't do traffic. We didn't do
Yeah.
a formal landscaping.
It should show up as something like that,
Okay.
I think. That way there we can get our concerns in about everybody, Henry can get his concerns in about lighting
Mhm.
and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and just have a shot at it to bring it up. That was approved 38 years ago,
Yeah.
and just want to make sure stuff hasn't changed too much. That's
Len?
Does this meet with today's setbacks? As far as, I know it did back then, but
I think so. I
Think it
think
does?
it does.
Yeah, it's well back there. That's,
And with
that's,
the
way-
foundation and
way off the
paving
road,
in, it
right.
would be.
yeah.
We're not proposing to come closer to any of the
right,
boundary lines.
Yeah, you're staying where you're at, I get that.
Right.
I'm just wondering if the
It
zoning
looks- We can look at that. It looks
setbacks
like it's
may
got
have changed.
sufficient setback
I don't
on it.
think they have, not that much anyhow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That, and just to go on what Ed said about the minor modification, I think that's probably the easiest way to go.
Yeah,
right?
I can't disagree
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
what it was.
That's
mine
kind of
was.
effortless.
Yep.
Quickly over there.
The foundation's all there.
I'm good.
Okay, Don?
They stopped that.
Yeah, so, Phil, what waivers would you be looking for, if any?
I think really just to take away some of the parking. And again, we've got plenty of land. We can always put it back, so it's almost like a land banking situation. We have it now, so we can already show that we can put it in there. But to remove it, create some more green space, so I think at most a special permit to reduce the parking required based on the new square footage of the building.
Yeah, I think Ed and Glenn are going in the right direction.
Yep.
Just a minor review, and possibly, obviously, department heads taking a look at it. Everybody check off on it, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, it looks fairly tame to me. It is a long time ago that was approved. I would commend to you the notion of if you rip up some pavement, simply land bank what you rip up. And, it'll probably never get used.
Right.
but it's in there, and technically, we have not reduced the parking, we've just changed its stature a little bit.
Right.
Evan, I mean, this is really as much a procedural question as anything else, and we want a simple, straightforward
I
procedure.
think you're on the right track. Initially, I wasn't aware of the special permit for reduced parking, and I'm taking their word for it that they technically need a special permit for reduced parking.
Yeah.
If the special permit wasn't needed, you could make an argument that that technically, under kind of planning zoning case law, that they executed and substantially began the 1980 permit,
Yeah,
and then they took a pause, and you could make an argument that the second half of the building could continue. But if we're going to introduce a special permit,
any kind of special permitting,
then that certainly needs board action.
yeah.
The reduction in parking, I think, is a voluntary action on
Yeah.
their part. Certainly reduces the cost of paving and helps
Yeah.
with the stormwater. But it would be, you have confirmed that you would need, okay, all right. Yeah, so I think a minor with a special permit. Sounds like they already have the plans prepared.
Yeah.
And they'll just
And,
need to figure out, any new lighting, freestanding or wall mounted.
Good. Well, what I would suggest you do, I think that's a good plan. We can do it with a minor, and Evan, what I'd like to have happen is have this material go through the various town organizations, have them take a look, let me know, or let us know if you think anything's going to need a look. I think we could certainly waive some pieces of this.
I think handling it like Trinity is
Yeah,
probably
exactly what I'm
kind of a
thinking.
good model.
Okay, is that, that works for me. Does that work for the board? We don't really have to vote on it
Right,
since
so
this
we'll
isn't
we'll work with the applicant. We'll be able to get you
hearing yet.
on in probably a month, once we
Right.
receive it, for
Okay.
the special permit advertising.
Okay, so that even with minor site plan, we have to advertise that. So
Yeah,
we'll
and
get-
that was my other
That's why
concern.
I'll work
Yeah.
with you we can confirm whether you
confirm
actually
that.
need that or not.
Okay. We can talk about that.
Well, I think it's better to go through the
you have
notice
it?
process, because if there's any question as to the legitimacy of our acting on a 38-year-old grant from this board,
Yep.
and somebody didn't get notified, then, we'd be duking it out in land court again.
So we'll flush that out right away so that if need be, we can start the advertising. We'd probably need anyways a week to get you some stuff to bring to the town departments, and so it'd be probably rushed to try to even get it in for 2 weeks. So we'll target that first meeting in May then, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Assuming you're
Okay.
meeting in May.
Okay.
You're not meeting in May?
No, we are.
Okay.
We're gonna just make it if you,
We'll
Your
work with you.
agendas,
We
yeah.
can get the legal items.
I'll be-
call me in the morning.
We'll be quick. We'll be in and out.
All
Won't
right.
keep you long. Okay, thank you
Very
very
good.
much. I
Anybody
appreciate
else
it.
on the board have any additional comment on this before we? Okay, very good. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Okay. Good. Okay. The next one, we got an A and R.
Yeah, and I'll read
No, he's not my husband anymore.
let Bill get up. Yeah, here's some for you.
Okay. There you go, guys.
Bye.
Here's some this way.
Let's take a look at this.
All right, let me, I know Tim is supposed to read the letter, but it's a short one, and I'll just read it tonight.
Thank you.
This is from Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer, to the Planning Board, referencing A&R 649. I have reviewed the proposed A&R 649 and recommend that the proposed parcel 2 be labeled not a building lot. There is not 20,000 square feet, and parcel 2 has no frontage.
Okay.
So that's Christina's, no other letters.
Okay. Bill, it's yours.
Yep, William Harvey, representing Joe Carries, who's the present owner. And what you have is a approval not required plan before you. What I'd like to state is that prior to any endorsement,
I'd request that my surveyor and engineer add one more note to this, and it's reference to a land court decision that went to a final judgment.
Okay.
And we want that on the plan just for the purposes of everybody having knowledge and that it'll
Right,
be
make it a
recorded at the
complete
registry.
record, yeah.
So, that's the only request that I'd ask, that it be changed before it gets signed. And that it would be also be reviewed by counsel for one of the abutters.
Okay.
Yep.
That sounds fair enough. Just out of curiosity, what's happening to parcel 2?
What's happening is actually, this area is zoned RC. RC zoning only requires 20,000 square feet.
Okay.
So therefore, proposed lot 1 would be in zoning compliance with 20,000 square feet.
Okay, and then,
There's excess land, which is not called a lot, it's referred to as parcel 2. This is consistent with which was done on 101 Mill Road. So it's not being called proposed lot 1 and proposed lot 2.
okay.
It's a
understood.
parcel of land, and obviously it can be done.
All right, I
It's the gating,
imagine perhaps at some point it'll get melded onto something else and create something else, but who knows?
Yeah.
Okay,
Gonna
let's
put
take it
that
around.
note- Oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry. You were talking about the note?
Is that gonna go on there, or is that on here someplace?
It's not on yet.
it's not on
It's
the-
not on there currently, the notation. I'll contact my engineer tomorrow
To do it?
to give you a brand-new plan prior to signing. And also, like I said, there's an attorney that would like to review it before it's signed.
Okay, and that notation is basically just a reference to the land court.
It's a reference to a land
case.
court judgment.
Judgment,
correct?
okay.
Yeah. And that judgment references the right-of-way, just to be specific.
Right, gotcha.
Billerica Road over to the,
Right,
The board needs to take action this evening. So I think what you're hearing is that it can be endorsed,
okay.
should be endorsed. The applicant is indicating that they want to add a notation.
I think that's fair, yeah.
The board wants to pursue the town engineer's recommended notation. We could talk about that. The reason that you need to take action tonight is that under A&R procedures, you have 21 days from the date of filing.
Right.
That 21 days, I believe, expires April 15th.
All right, so we need to act now.
I think more than safe endorsing it with the condition. The applicant's indicated that they're gonna revise the plan to begin with. So you will have
Okay.
taken action.
Well, I mean, basically, I like the idea of endorsing it with a land court judgment. On the other hand, that doesn't change the judgment to the effect. I mean,
Right.
it's a matter of legal simplification, not a matter of legal requirement. But I think
Correct.
it's a good one.
and it's also just to let
Yes, let
everybody
everybody know.
on chain of title realize that
Right.
it's out there.
Let's take it around. We'll start at your end.
So-
Anybody have any concerns?
Just a question. So if the engineer says it's not a buildable lot,
Yeah.
yet Mr. Harvey's introducing a court case that says it is? Or
No, the court case relates to the easement, I believe.
Okay, so then if it's not a buildable lot,
Then, but our typical procedure here is to note on the plans, just the statement, not a buildable lot. Is that an acceptable?
Actually, with regards to the case law
Yeah,
on approval not required, is that if you note on a plan, not a buildable lot, you're making a zoning determination.
There
So
is that issue.
I would object to that.
I think
That's why it's
yeah.
being labeled as a parcel and not a lot.
I think your point's well taken.
We generally put on
Yeah.
it, no
Determination is the
determination.
zoning.
That's already there.
That's already there.
Pat includes that.
Okay, then I think we're covered.
I'm all set.
I'm all set.
I'm all set. I'm all set.
I have a question.
Yep.
Bill, there's a something marker in parcel 2 that aligns with a property line that appears to have a 2-foot wide,
What's going on over there? Didn't see it.
Yes, I see that.
yeah.
Yep.
Could you comment on that? Is that actually 2 feet wide? Or am I reading this incorrectly?
Well, I'm not an engineer, but according to the plan, it indicates 2 feet, so I believe it's 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a 2-foot strip by 192 feet. No, 100 feet, excuse me.
Yeah, I think it's almost
100.92.
101 feet.
Yep.
Okay. And that has nothing to do with this split of property?
No, not tonight.
Yeah, all right. No further questions.
Okay. Well, if nobody has an additional comment, I suppose we could, this, not a public, not for an A and R.
No public hearing. We're done. Would you entertain a motion?
Well, actually, I got
Yeah.
one question. So, back to the engineer's thing, it's not a buildable lot, right? So, but does more need to be added to it to make it a buildable lot, or?
Well, it's simply not enough land.
Right, but is he gonna take other
The-
parcels that he owns and add to it, or how? how's
Maybe.
that?
We don't, we
But
don't
that's
know.
not part of this application.
What it, Don, what it is it's landlocked. When you
Right.
look at under A and R rules, approval not required, there's an A and R handbook. You have to have a certain amount of frontage, and once you've got that frontage, the board is basically required to approve it.
But this
So,
has no
but this-
frontage.
Can we form a landlocked piece of land?
Yeah, we can.
I was just curious.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be able to do
Yeah.
much with it,
That's why you're
but we can
supposed,
do it.
you're supposed to say on there, it's not a buildable parcel.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not saying, you know,
I think we
years
can
down the
form
road.
it. I think we can form it.
Evan, I was just curious about that. I remember something about landlocked land. That's the only reason I'm asking.
You did it for the water department.
Putting a
while back.
notation on? Is that
No,
what you
I
have?
mean, can we form a piece of landlocked land?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually,
Remember, you're not making, there's no zoning determination here.
Yeah,
Clearly, there may be this may be the first step of a second step.
yeah.
But the point is, because this does not have the frontage, as a approval not required, we are not required to approve it because we're only required to approve if it has enough frontage.
Correct, but I think that's why,
So we could reject this
Well,
if we were so inclined.
yeah, I guess you could. I'm not suggesting you would want to do
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, certainly under A and R, you can create slivers and
Yeah.
zoning,
correct, correct,
zoning
absolutely correct.
non-compliant parcels. So as the applicant indicated, it's being labeled as a parcel, not as a lot. There is a
that's-
distinction between
Yeah.
that.
Any other thoughts on this before we take it to a vote? I would entertain a motion to grant a finding of approval not required.
I'll make the motion that we endorse the plan. That-
I'll sit.
With the
Go ahead,
notes.
Tim can have it.
What's the
Tim's
notes?
got the second,
the
with no
notes?
determination as zoning, of course.
Yeah, yeah, with no
Yeah.
determination.
Who seconded?
Tim did.
Is this pending the notation that goes on there, or is that?
Yeah, we
Yes.
won't sign off on it until we see that notation.
No,
but-
but I'm saying, should his motion say pending?
Okay, I'll amend the motion as per Henry's suggestion, that it's pending the notation that the applicant's
Bring it forward.
bringing forth.
Okay, fair enough.
You put
Second
it-
still good?
Putting a notation.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, what do we have?
7-0.
7-0. Okay,
Why don't you give me those?
you got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it takes me back to the depths of the A&R handbook.
Yeah, that's a,
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got another one here.
Nope, that's all the same
Oh,
one.
same thing.
Yep.
No, don't we have 85? What's
That was
this?
85.
No, it was 85.
Just did 8.
This was all the same
Yeah,
stuff?
it's all the same stuff.
If y'all wanted a copy for yourself, you could have had one.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
We
For
like
my,
to share.
saving it for my file.
I don't even have the bucket here. All right, so
very good. Then, what do we have left? Let's discuss.
So I had to refresh my memory
Yeah.
on appointing the associate member.
Mhm.
So, by a vote of this board, we'll notify the selectmen of
Yes.
the vacancy
Mhm.
and have it posted so we can start taking applications.
And then we'll have a joint meeting with the selectmen.
Right, right. Do you want to do it the way we've done it in the past with the board, well, most of the board, is take the applications and have them come to a meeting here first,
I think that would be a very good idea.
and then the selectmen together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, let's do this all in one shot.
All right, so you guys want to make a motion to notify the Board of Selectmen of the vacancy?
Motion to
And start
notify
that.
the Board of Selectmen about the vacancy.
Second it. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that, and whatever their schedule
Did Tim
indicates.
second?
Yes, Tim seconded.
Such a soft voice.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Do we have any new business?
Evan, you
Evan, you got any new business?
Not new business, no.
Do we have any committee reports? What happened the last time you visited the EDC? Anything good?
We continue to work through the marketing and branding,
Okay.
focused on website development,
Okay.
and determining what actually the outline is going to be on that. We talked a little bit about production of the video, which is consistent with the RFP. And it appears as though we'll use Chelmsford Telemedia, possibly as a resource to help us with the shooting and
great.
possibly the editing
Nice.
of the video. So we hope that the website will be complete May, June timeframe. So we're on schedule.
Good. Yeah, I'll try to make the next one. I missed the last one.
Yeah.
Historic? Anything happening there?
No,
Anything
nothing,
happening?
nothing to talk about. However, under zoning discussions, I would
Yeah.
like to raise the question, when would you like to continue the review and discussions on a modification to the zoning bylaws for historic preservation? Because I'd like to do it
Well,
sooner than later.
Yeah, and I think that's ongoing anyway. You've
It
already
is.
submitted a proposal.
But we've kind of had it on hold for,
Yeah.
If I
A
may,
while because of
I
the
wanted
upcoming
to work with
transition.
Nan directly,
Okay,
and possibly the Historical Commission.
okay.
I want to make sure, one, that whatever's presented at town meeting targets the kind of challenges that the Historical Commission believes exist.
okay?
And I don't want to, and I want to work with Nan to try to massage it a little bit, simplify it a little bit.
Yeah, I thought we needed to.
Yeah.
There's a new draft that has been simplified, but.
All right, so send it to me, and then I can work with
Yeah.
you offline.
Okay.
Yeah,
On, just back to town meeting prep at 129, if you didn't see, well, Board of Selectmen Monday night took positions on all articles. I believe they voted unanimously not to recommend the citizen petition.
Okay.
And then the planning board article, I believe they did recommend support.
Good.
the clarification.
For that, correct. Pre-town meeting, I believe, is scheduled for Wednesday, the 25th, which is the night of your next meeting.
Of course.
There may be an opportunity for the planning board meeting to adjourn a little earlier.
Yeah.
I think you have the two school parking lots projects.
Yep.
And anything else?
200 Turnpike.
200 Turnpike, which you've seen
Okay.
before, same proposal. So there may be an opportunity for board members to go from here up to pre-town
Okay,
meeting.
that would be good if we could get up there.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, wave the flag. Okay, anything else, anything happening in Vinyl Square, Center Village? I guess not.
Well, Vinyl Square got that wayfinding
Yeah,
grant, so they discussed that at the last meeting.
all right.
We accept the motion.
Huh?
Since you always did that to everybody. Would you accept the motion?
Two.
Adjourn?
Yes. Oh, well, let me, before we do that. Oh, too late. I just want to, one more thing I want to mention. One's perspective. Just, for the next meeting, we probably ought to prepare for a couple of things. Maybe if everybody thinks about what projects they can see as being useful going forward this year. I know Glenn's already mentioned to me, maybe it's time to look at some of our, some of the lines for some of the residential districts and the sizes of the lots. Evan, what's happening with master plan?
So that's something that the board needs to discuss.
Yeah.
Next step is, probably discussing when to initiate an update process.
As I think we're getting pretty close.
I think that's
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
Okay, the next meeting, if we have a little time, let's maybe discuss master plan and anything else, send a note to Evan and he'll.
Yeah, I think you should,
Send it out.
think about general goals and objectives. The Glenn's example is a good one of a very
The
specific
historic stuff is
zoning.
already in the works.
Yep.
And I'll probably think of a few things as well, so. Very good. Okay, now I know you really want to make this motion.
Well, somebody has to fill in for what you did all
Yes,
of
it's
these.
true.
Will you accept a motion to adjourn?
I would accept with great pleasure.
And I would second it.
I have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
We don't